You clicked because of the title. A DNA test. A dark secret. You want to know what it uncovers. Here it is. My husband looked at our newborn son. He did not smile. He stepped back. Then he said 5 words that changed everything. We need a DNA test. I thought he doubted me. I thought this was about trust. I was wrong. The test would not just prove who the father was. It would open a secret my husband's own family had hidden for almost 30 years. A secret about who he really is. If you stay until the end, you will hear the exact moment the truth came out. And you will understand why one small silver bracelet changed 3 lives forever. Before we begin, press like now. It helps more English learners find this story. And subscribe so you never miss the next one. Now, let's begin. My name is Emma. I am 28 years old. I work as a librarian. I love quiet rooms and old books. 3 years ago, I married Daniel. He is kind. He always makes me laugh. We wanted a baby for a long time. Last year, it finally happened. One rainy morning, our son was born. The nurse placed him in my arms. He was tiny. He was perfect. I kissed his head. I love you already, I whispered. Daniel stood beside me. But he did not smile. He stared at our baby. His face turned pale. Daniel? I said. What is wrong? He did not answer. He was looking at something on the baby's wrist. I looked too. Under the hospital tag was another bracelet. It was old. Silver. A tiny moon was carved on it. That is not from the hospital, Daniel whispered. The nurse looked at it. For a moment, her hands seemed to shake. I do not know how it got there, she said quietly, not quite meeting our eyes. She removed it carefully and placed it on the table. Daniel's hands were shaking. I have seen this bracelet before, he said. Where? I asked. My mother had one exactly like it, he said. She never explained why. I did not understand. So? Daniel looked at me. His eyes were full of fear. She told me once that a baby never came home from the hospital, the year I was born. He said. She would never say whose baby it was. I always assumed a cousin, maybe. She never let me ask twice. The room went very quiet. Then Daniel said the words I never expected. I think we need a DNA test. I stared at him. Why? You know she is yours. Daniel looked at the bracelet on the table. This is not about you, he said quietly. I think someone in my family has been lying for 30 years. That night, neither of us slept. I sat beside our son's crib. I touched his tiny hand. I will always protect you, I whispered. Daniel came in quietly. He sat next to me. I am sorry, he said. I know this sounds strange. Then explain it, I said. He took a breath. When I was young, I heard my parents arguing. They thought I was asleep. My mother kept saying one thing. Never tell Daniel what really happened. A cold feeling ran through me. You never asked them? I did, he said. They always changed the subject. When I saw that bracelet today, it felt like the past came back. I looked at him. There was no anger in his eyes. Only fear. I am not accusing you of anything, he said. I think someone lied to my family a long time ago. The next morning, we drove to a private clinic. A nurse smiled kindly. This will only take a few minutes. She mentioned the clinic also had a family history program. It compared new DNA samples with older samples from people searching for lost relatives. Would you like us to check that too, while we are at it? Daniel hesitated, then nodded. Why not, he said quietly. It cannot hurt. She collected samples from Daniel, our son, and me. Results in 3 days, she said. 3 days felt endless. Daniel became quiet. Sometimes I found him staring at an old photograph from a drawer. At his parents' house. What is that? I asked one evening. He looked at it for a long moment. 2 babies. I found it when I was 12. I asked my mother about it once. She took it from me and never let me ask again. I did not think much of it then. I wish I had. On the 3rd morning, my phone rang. It was the clinic. Your results are ready. At the office, Daniel opened the envelope. His hands shook. Probability of paternity, 99.99%, he read. He was the father. I felt relief. But Daniel was not smiling. He was looking at another page. A note from the lab. Your DNA matched an unexpected record in our historical files. The room went silent. The test had answered one question. It had opened a much bigger one. The doctor led us into a private office. His face was serious. Our lab compares DNA samples with older samples in the program, he said. Yours matched one. A match with who? I asked. I cannot say. Privacy laws. He paused. But that person contacted us this morning. He slid a sealed envelope across the desk. On the front, in shaky handwriting, for Daniel. When you are ready. Daniel's hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was one photograph. 2 baby boys, almost identical. One of them wore a tiny silver bracelet. Daniel went still. This is the same photo, he whispered. The one my mother took from me. On the back, 6 words, we were never supposed to separate. Daniel went pale. My parents told me I was an only child. The doctor spoke gently. I believe they were wrong. Before we could ask more, the phone rang. The doctor answered, then looked up. There is a woman outside. She says she is your aunt. Daniel froze. I do not have an aunt. A woman walked in. Her eyes were full of tears. She looked at Daniel for a long moment. You have your mother's smile, she whispered. She placed an old hospital bracelet on the desk. It matched the one from the photo. I have been looking for you for almost 30 years, she said. Daniel could barely speak. Who are you? My name is Grace. I am your mother's sister. She looked at him carefully. My sister did not lose one child that night. She lost 2. Twins, Daniel. You were not alone that night. Daniel shook his head. That is impossible. I would know. My parents would have told me. Grace looked down at her hands. There is more, Daniel. But I think you should hear it. From your mother, in her own words. She reached into her bag and stopped, her fingers resting on something inside. Not here, she said quietly. This is not a conversation for a hospital office. The room felt like it was spinning. I did not know what was left to learn. But I could see, from Grace's face, that the hardest part had not been said yet. At home that evening, Grace sat across from us at the kitchen table. I did not want to say this in front of strangers, she said. Daniel, the parents who raised you never told you the whole truth either. Daniel went very still. What do you mean? They believed you had no family left, Grace said gently. They were not lying to you. They were lied to as well. Daniel sat with that for a long moment before he spoke again. Then who am I? Grace opened her bag. She took out an old, faded letter. Your mother wrote this before she died, she said. She wanted you to have it. Daniel's hands shook as he opened it. The paper was yellow with age. He began to read aloud. My dear Daniel, if you are reading this, the truth has found you. The night you were born, there was a fire at the hospital. Records were lost. Babies were separated from their families. I was told my baby had died. I believed them for years. Daniel stopped. His voice broke. I held his hand. Keep going, I said softly. He continued. By the time I learned the truth, another family had already raised you as their own son. I could not bear to take you from the only home you knew. So I watched from far away. Every birthday. Every year. I kept my bracelet safe all these years. I asked Grace to make sure it reached your child. One day, so the truth could not stay hidden forever. Daniel looked up, confused. Reached my child? How? Grace answered quietly. A friend of mine has worked at that hospital for 20 years. When I heard your wife was expecting, I asked her to place it gently on the baby's wrist. Exactly as your mother wished. I suddenly remembered something. The nurse, I said slowly. She would not look at us. Her hands were shaking. Grace nodded. She knew what the bracelet meant. She was afraid of what it would open. It was the first piece I had put together myself. Small, but mine. Daniel looked at me. You noticed that? I didn't. This means, he said slowly, turning back to the letter. The parents who raised me. They are not my birth parents. And my brother? Daniel asked. My twin. The other baby in the photograph? Grace's eyes filled with tears. He was found the same night, in the chaos of the fire. By a different family. He is alive, she said. And he still does not know who he really is either. Daniel sat in silence, holding the bracelet in his hand. 2 brothers. 2 stolen lives. 1 silver bracelet, finally explained. I need to meet him, Daniel finally said. Grace led us to a small house outside the city. An old man opened the door. His eyes went straight to Daniel. He stepped back, his hand pressed to his chest. You look just like her, he whispered. Who are you? Daniel asked. My name is Robert. He looked away. Maybe we should talk another day. This is a lot. All at once. He began to close the door. Daniel stepped forward and stopped it with his hand. No, he said. Not another day. Today. Robert hesitated. His eyes moved to Grace, then to me. I spoke quietly, but firmly. We have waited 30 years for this without even knowing it. Please. Just tell us the truth. Robert let out a long breath. He stepped back and let us in. He asked us to sit. His hands were shaking. I was a volunteer at the hospital the night of the fire, he said. I found a baby alone. No name. No records left. I searched for months. No one came. My wife and I had just lost our own son. We were broken. We wanted to believe he was meant for us. Daniel's jaw tightened. So you kept him. You kept my brother. Robert lowered his head. Yes. But that is not the whole story. 10 years later, a letter arrived. No name on it. Just one line, this child is not yours to keep. I knew, right then, someone was still looking. Did you answer it? Daniel asked. I almost did, Robert said. I wrote a reply. I even drove to mail it. Then I stopped outside the post office. I watched Michael through the car window, laughing with his friends. I was not afraid of the truth, Robert said quietly. I was afraid of losing him. So I tore the letter and drove home. The room was silent. Daniel stood up. He walked to the window. He said nothing for a long moment. I watched him struggle. Anger. Grief. Something in between. You had 30 years, Daniel said quietly. And one moment outside a post office. I know, Robert said. I cannot fix that. Daniel turned around. His eyes were wet, but steady. I am not ready to forgive you, he said. Not today. Robert nodded slowly. That is fair. But I want to meet him, Daniel said. My brother deserves to know the truth. However hard it is. Robert stood. His hands trembled as he walked toward another room. He is here, Robert said. He has been waiting to meet you too. The door opened. A man stepped into the room. He looked at Daniel and stopped. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They simply looked at each other. The same eyes. The same quiet smile. I do not know what to say, the man said softly. My name is Michael. Daniel's voice shook. I think I have been looking for you my whole life. I just did not know it. They did not hug right away. It was not that simple. 30 years of silence do not disappear in one moment. But Michael reached out first. Daniel took his hand. Later that evening, we sat together. Grace shared old photographs. Robert stayed quiet in the corner, watching. Daniel looked at Michael for a long time. I am still angry, Daniel said. About the lies. About the years we lost. I understand, Michael said. I am angry too. But I am also grateful you found me. Daniel nodded slowly. Maybe both feelings can be true at the same time. That night, we drove home. Our son slept quietly in his car seat. Daniel held my hand the whole way. One DNA test, he said. I thought it would answer a simple question. Instead, it gave you a brother, I said. And it gave me a small mystery to solve, too. He smiled, tired but real. It gave me the truth. Even the hard parts. Weeks later, Daniel and Michael began building something new. Not a perfect relationship. A real one. Slow. Honest. Still healing. That night, Daniel took the silver bracelet and placed it inside a small wooden memory box beside his mother's letter. It no longer feels like loss, he said quietly. Now I know exactly why it found us. It was never a mystery. It was my mother, still finding a way to reach me. Family is not only about blood. It is about the courage to face what you find and choose each other anyway. If this story touched you, press like now. Subscribe for more emotional English stories. And tell us in the comments, would you want to know a truth like this, even if it hurt?